All right, folks, it looks like we are live on the live stream. It's been a while since our last live stream, but we just had to get Brad on from Full Spectrum Survival. You guys are probably well aware of his channel. Make sure you go and click the link in the description box below. Check out Full Spectrum Survival. Features videos basically daily on all sorts of things survival and preparedness related. You can also go over to Off Grid with Brad and Kelly with his wife, and they also do some additional channels on the videos on the B channel. We're just going to go right into it. So again, welcome Brad from Full Spectrum Survival. Let me get you back on screen. Here we go.
Thank you so much, Cliff, for having me here, and for everybody taking the time out of your day to spend the evening with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I know you have a lot of viewers from your channel have come over to say hi, and
Awesome.
Viewers from mine that are coming that would like to see you too. So I don't think you do too many live streams. I think a lot of the videos that you do are kind of the standalones, right? So
that's right. Yeah, we used to do lives. We tried to do them once a week, but we have very rural internet here. And hopefully we get Starlink in the future. We'll be able to bring something like that kind of back more to the forefront.
Yeah, I think when we first tried to schedule this particular live stream, I'm like, hey, you want to come on the live stream? And you're like, oh, I don't know what you were using before. The 56K modem or something was, internet's not that good right now. So.
Yeah, that's about what it seems.
that was a lot of fun. Well, this would be a great opportunity for the folks that are fans of Full Spectrum to Survival to ask questions in real time about anything that you like about related to preparedness topics.
Sure.
I have some questions of my own, and so I'm going to be super greedy and ask some of mine.
Okay.
And also, I think your wife Kelly is in the background, so shout out to Kelly who's on backstage over there.
That's right. Yeah, okay. Watching everybody in the back.
Okay, great, cool. Well, I thought before we haven't had a chance to talk on camera before. We've talked a lot through email, but things are going to change in that regard because we're having a new channel, a collaboration channel, and I know that you did a shout out of it on your video today. I thought maybe you could give a little talk about what we're working on because it's exciting.
So a couple of months back, and I guess it's been a real strong couple of months. We all got together and started talking about how do we really engage different ideas in the community, because a lot of preparedness, at least in my opinion, Cliff, and everybody watching, a lot of preparedness is perspective based, and it's also locality based. So, things are different for you on the West Coast of the United States. They're different for me. They're definitely different for Nate up in Canada. There's just different things happening in different areas. And then we each have our own perspectives. Now, I try to not get jaded, as we look at things that are happening to one person and then somebody else. You have to face the reality that just because all the world's volcanoes didn't blow up at once and it's not one massive event, somebody is having their worst day of their life today. They've either lost their job, or they've had a health crisis, or any number of things could happen. And so that's the type of thing that we really prepare for. And we can kind of get together on the channel, Think Preparedness, and talk about those things that in all the different ways that they affect us.
Yeah, totally. So again, we have a new channel that's coming out that's going to be called Think Preparedness. There's a link in the description box. You could click it now. It's going to feature Brad from Full Spectrum Survival, myself, City Prepping, and Canadian Prepper, and we're just going to be doing sit-down discussions, kind of like what we're doing here in a long format about all things preparedness. So again, link in the description box for the Think Preparedness channel, and I'm super excited to. We already recorded our first one, which is going to go live, I think, this weekend, and we have some new ones coming up down the road. So it's going to be a fun outlet for us.
And I think the first one's going to go live, if not tomorrow, then maybe Saturday was the discussion. So make sure you guys get in there to see when it happens.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So I think people are going to like it. I'm definitely going to like having more opportunities to talk with you and with Chris and Nate. So
yeah, me too.
Well, cool. I thought I think most people are probably familiar with your channel, but I thought for those that are just new to your channel, I was kind of interested in the history of Full Spectrum Survival, because you make regular content. I think you're doing it daily now, and it's really resonating. I think stuff really started to hit, it seems like, over the past few years, especially on providing these narratives on current events, news analysis, and with the preparedness light, and really diving into the detail. So I just wanted to talk, maybe you could talk a little bit about the history of Full Spectrum Survival, because I know that it started off more with like kind of the off-grid type stuff, and then it's really turned into like the news source for us preppers on YouTube.
Yeah, so I have a full family history in the military, and I decided that I didn't want my life I can't stand being told what to do in that regard. So the military wasn't really the way for me to go. But I did some NGO security and some other avenues of sort of the pre-preparedness lifestyle in that regard. And living in Florida, my wife and I grew up in Florida our whole life. So every year was preparedness, because every year you were going to have a hurricane. Every year people's houses were getting destroyed. We lived just a couple of miles from the beach, and it was just something that happened. We got to grow up seeing the rush of people who they never prepare, and then the news tells them there's something going wrong, and they run to the store, and everybody clears out the milk and the bread, canned goods, and it's kind of that revolving circle of preparedness there. And Kelly and I said, well, we don't really want to be a part of that, and we want to do more for our family. And it was really sparked when we had our firstborn child, and we said, okay, well, now we're actually preparing for somebody else, and it's not just us. We have to really do more to take up that yoke of responsibility and kind of bear the burden there. And that was about 8-9 years ago, Kel, somewhere around 8 or 9 years ago. And like you said, we've kind of evolved since then. We started out just like everybody else, where you just kind of like massively do with the most that you can, taking in all the different scenarios. And then we kind of boiled it down to the reality that if the average person in the United States can camp for 2 weeks without any access to anything else, they have all their food for 2 weeks, they have their way to communicate. If they can do all those things, wash their clothes, get their medicine, find alternatives, whatever it might be, for 2 weeks, they're going to survive most disasters that we face in humanity. Yeah. And so that was kind of the direction change that we went towards. And then now we've kind of evolved into the events that are happening in our world right now and how they affect each one of us individually.
Yeah, I've always really liked that about your channel, that Kelly is such an integral part in behind the scenes. I think oftentimes the spouses of us YouTubers are kind of the unsung heroes, because they make a lot of the things happen. Like for me, just doing this right now, my wife is watching the kids, and she's doing stuff to allow us to be able to talk like this. So shout outs to all the spouses of all the preparedness people that we know here on YouTube. So
absolutely.
Cool. So we talked a little bit about the news analysis of the preparedness community. I'm keeping an eye on the comments section for comments that are coming in, because I see that I think that Kelly's already she's responding as you.
That's right. Yeah, she's on there responding. So if you guys have any questions or anything, Cliff said that we'd be taking questions here. He had some prepared, but if you have them, throw them out there. Now, whenever I used to do live shows, Cliff, and you tell me if you have a different way here, I would ask people to put it in capital letters so it kind of stands out. And if you have another way that works that we can engage those questions, I just kind of look for the good ones, and they usually they but if they want to do the all caps, but I'll assume you're not yelling at me if you do in all caps. That's right. Let's do one question from the crowd really quick, and then I have my questions. I know that you cover this often. I think you talked about it today with regard to, do you think that we will see the Great Depression 2.0 in the same way that the last one was as bad as this was? I know you're talking about 2008 and 2009 earlier today, but what do you think? Yeah. The Great Depression, my grandparents were a lot older. They've passed on, and my aunts and uncles have passed on, but they lived during those times. And before they passed, I got all of the information that I could out of them about how day-to-day life affected them. And let me tell you, it was bad. But every person had their own variation of it. And like my aunt in particular, my Auntie Alice, she had a big garden. They had a freedom garden. They had the garden in their front yard that they would get their food from, and they had people come up and steal them. Now, her father at the time would sit out on their porch with a shotgun, making his presence known that you're not going to come steal my food. And then she told me about this story where they had a woman come up one time, and her father caught her and gave her some leniency. And I thought about, well, today's world is a little bit differently. What if somebody came up to do that? You always got to think about a little bit more the malicious nature of what we're experiencing today and the desperation. There wasn't really that moral guideline that they had back in the early 1900s. So when you ask, are we going to see a Great Depression again? It's without a doubt going to happen. The real question is, are we seeing it right now? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of data and indications that we are seeing it right now. It's just a slow burn toward that larger event. I mean, look, we're facing the worst financial crisis of our lifetimes. The fact that it's not hitting major corporations or the stock market just means they have other tools involved in the federal government that allow those things to not affect those areas. But when that starts to pull back, and when they start to see that they've really soaked every drop of blood that they can out of the market, that's when we're all in trouble.
Yeah, it's definitely scary times. I mean, I've been focusing so much on just kind of prepping on my end that like the videos for me has been almost secondary, because I feel like a sense of urgency right now. One of the questions that I had was for you, and a lot of the topics that you have on the channel. Let me see if I could get this back in the screen really quick. There we go. So uh, I have to gear myself up when I'm about to watch a FSS one, because I feel, okay, I got to get into the right place. Kind of like when I watch a scary movie, because oftentimes it gets me in a place where it keeps me up at night thinking about a lot of these topics. One of the questions that I had was how do you, what's your mindset? Like, how do you stay positive during times like this, when there's a lot of topics that we're talking about, and a lot of things in the preparedness community they're just dark topics. We're talking about earthquakes and natural disasters and pandemics and financial economic collapse and Great Depressions. What do you do personally to stay, without getting down into kind of a personal depression? Personal depression.
Yeah, so a lot of it for me is really just mental bifurcation, or making sure that I've realized that these things happen around our world. I mean, yes, if we sat and dwelled on the fact that there are people being really destroyed mentally, or through physical violence, or any sort of violence that I don't even want to talk about here. If we dwelled on that, we would be like, wow, that is a horrible place. But I know those things happen, and that knowledge that those things happen, that knowledge stays over here, and I still see my path forward. My path is to do everything that I can, knowing that these problems in our world exist, but being able to tackle what I can tackle at the time, whether that's practicing marksmanship, getting my pantry stockpiled, talking with friends and family. And just because all these problems that, like you said, are dark, they are scary, and they are kind of unhappy to think about, just because I know they exist, that doesn't rule my life. I still let my mind and my path forward rule my life. And I think that's an important thing that we can all do in our community, is really tackle what we're able to. You can get your medicine stockpiled. You can make good connections with friends and family. I mean, let me tell you something. I play games with my children every single day. We go out. Me and Kelly just went out and took our daily walk today. We have these things that we enjoy every day of our life, and we just still know that those things exist, but we don't let them rule our lives. And I think that's probably an important part for me, and maybe that's something that everyone can adapt, so that they don't get into that spot where it's all dark and dreary. We still have so much brightness ahead of us, even knowing that there's going to be struggles ahead.
Yeah, earlier this year I was having a hard time with just staying awake up at night, and having a hard time sleeping or waking up in the middle of the night, because I was worried about some kind of emergency thing. And then there's periods of time that I find that I have to kind of detach from things a little bit, and just turn off the sources that I'm getting, because I can get into a state where it's just I can't get it out of my head type thing.
Yeah, for me, I'm a big planner. Like I want to have a to-do list, and I want to chalk away at that to-do list. So I can show you my phone or on paper, where we just have that and we chalk away at it. And Kelly and I have a lot of things that we're trying to do. I mean, we've got, just here where we're at, we've got 5 acres. We've got a fence in. We created a real strong area around the house, and then we've got to go again and put the 2x4 fence around, so that we can put some barbed wire on top of that and hot wire the entire thing. That's a lot to do. I mean, you're talking dozens and dozens of man hours, together with getting ready for spring garden and all of those different things. So, to-do list is really what helps me kind of get through those times, and just knowing, okay, if I've got time, I'm going to do something on that list.
Yeah, I think in the community, there's a couple of things I was going to ask. One of them, I'm keeping an eye on the comments. There's a lot of good comments already coming in. I'm not sure if I should just take a rapid fire one really quick. A lot of people just seem to appreciate the talk, and glad that you're doing this. Pulse on this. Let's see, my wife. They're talking about this. One of the questions, I'm going to go back to being greedy and have one of my own questions here.
Okay.
I'm always, as a fellow content creator, I'm always you're doing these daily videos with these deep dive analysis, one take. I'm just curious, what can you talk about, the day in the life of full spectrum survival? What does it take to get these videos to come out on this day-to-day basis with the amount of detail that you provide, and you provide it in a way I find that it's not, you're not saying your leanings one way or another, other than that, you're prepping and there's concerns for the unexpected, basically. But
Sure.
what's the day in the life for you then?
Well, a couple of years ago, I wrote an algorithm in Python that would go out and I drew my own dictionary and tree and everything. And it would go out and find all
Awesome.
the topics that I thought was important at the time. And doing that, I don't even utilize that program as much anymore. I still let it run on a daily basis. But what it really did, I guess, was it allowed me in my mind to sort of formulate those things that I was looking for. And I'm sure that, as a content creator, you almost never turn, any business owner knows, you never turn off your work. You don't have the luxury of going into a place and just being able to walk away from it at the end of shift and saying it's done. It's always there. So all throughout the night, if I see something, or if I get an alert off of that program that I wrote or whatever it might be, I'm on it at that time. I do my work on it and I put it away. And then the next day, as the topics come out, I flush them out to make sure that they're still relevant or going on, to make sure that it still matters for our community. Write up the script and then go at it. So I guess just doing it for 8 years, it just allowed me to really go at it in a way that I can usually get it done in one take. If not like the day before yesterday where I got stung by a yellow jacket, or maybe it was yesterday, sitting there I'm just in the middle of the woods. This yellow jacket just decides that I'm a threat to it and tags me for no reason.
They're a-holes. So
yeah, that's right. So sometimes you have to take an edit and keep going. But other than that, I just, try to tackle it away.
I've had no bee stings during the making of any of the videos that I've done, although I do gravestone cleaning as a hobby to relax and to get my mind off of things. And awesome. There's been some yellow jacket attacks for me over there because when you step on one. So again, a lot of people are. Someone said, "I'm glad to see you smile." Let's see. Let me just go rapid fire through some of these comments, and we just got to read some of these. All the preppers are obsessed with lists. Yeah, lists. You got to be organized. There's so much involved with preparedness that if you don't have a list or you don't have things to organize, it's hard to figure out where to go and where to start at.
Or you get lost. You get kind of like in this circle of what did I do? What haven't I done yet?
Yeah, it looks like someone's asking, do you practice a weekly schedule aside for preparing for videos?
What do you mean by, if you answer again with what you mean by that schedule, then I'll tackle that.
Yeah. Cool. What are the things that I always really like about your videos? Again, a lot of people were talking in the comments. I could see it as far as being, you're kind of like our news analysis. That's like, it's like unbiased as far as you're providing the stats. You have the data there. You're presenting it in an eloquent way, one take. And the thing that I really like about you is the microphone, and I have the full spectrum survival microphone here because to me where's it, a lot of people have like the lapel mics, and you have the microphone like it has a commanding presence to it. I don't know if that was by design or if that's just my reading into it, but
no, if you look back,
talk about the microphone, because I think I've always found that when you have the microphone, you could do mic drops, and you could.
That's right.
It means something. It's not just you talking like this. The microphone is a commanding thing that you have the mic, and you're saying. Was that by design, or was that just you wanted better audio?
Better audio was the way to go for me 100% of the time. Really making. As we've made a couple of short films, and we really enjoy doing that. And so I really got into audio and how bad audio can detract from you can have subpar video and great audio and it's still going to be great.
Yep.
So the opposite side, I always have had problems with lapel mics, whether it's a bulldozer that we're running doing another project on the property at the same time or whatever it might be, because they're omnidirectional. So I really needed something unidirectional. And I found that those Shure mics, I mean, those are awesome, because you do some entertainment.
Yep.
And so they're just amazing little pieces of gear, and it just fit kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah, totally. I just happen to have one downstairs, and I'm like, oh, that's Brad's mic there.
Yep.
Again, I always find I'm super impressed with like a stand-up comedian like Bill Burr or someone like that, just standing up on stage with just a microphone and a monitor and commanding the room by listening to exactly what they're saying. There's no the fireworks or light show or anything like that. It's just what they're saying and how it resonates with people. And I really think how you present the information, it means the same thing to me when I watch your presentation. So I think it's
awesome.
Again,
I appreciate
awesome.
I think Tested Traveler followed up on that question. They said first aid on Monday, food review on Tuesday. So that's the type of schedule they were talking about.
Oh, okay.
we don't necessarily adhere to like a strict schedule like that, but we just let our to-do list kind of drive what we're trying to get done. As far as like practicing skills or making sure that we're still doing those things that are necessary, we kind of just do that all the time. Like, Kelly's baking, or we're going out and target practicing. We live in an unincorporated rural area, so we really have the freedom to, if you just want to go out and shoot, you can just go out and shoot.
That's awesome. I'm just kind of going through random questions here. Here's one from, I don't even know how to say this. What is the best and cheapest solar generator that works?
Well, I've tried a lot of them, and they all have their ups and downs, in my opinion. I advocate get whatever you can get. And if you get it from Amazon, like if you use one of Cliff's links for Amazon and you get it, you have that 30-day freedom to send it back. If you think it's a piece of junk, send it right back.
Yeah. I use the energy one. This is the one I use. Okay, I think Jackery has a pretty affordable one. I think I think it'd be a great Christmas gift for someone that you really, really like if you want to spend a couple $100, but that's not with the solar panels. But energy is the one that I prefer. I'm just going to go down to the bottom and see what for the freshest ones. Let's see. The mic is awesome. Who said that? Someone agrees with me. Rapture ready. It says the mic is awesome. I agree. The pantry ready. That's cool. Question. Here we go. Okay. Question. Tony, I like how you formatted this. Question. So that was easy for me to find. Okay. The entire Think Preparedness is bald. I fit right in. How many razor blades should I prep?
I'll tell you what. I made the best decision, the best choice of my life about 2 years ago. I had been a razor shaver every day of my life, and then I finally found a like $24 Amazon rechargeable, underwater shaver, and I'll never change it again. That thing will last me from now until the apocalypse.
Wow, cool. There you go. Link in the description box will come at a later date for that one. I also use a wireless razor, so I haven't paid for a barber for a long time. Yeah, so I guess I think that made it pretty easy for me to see. So if you have a specific question, do just like what Tony did, I think, is just do question all caps, and then I'll try to read it for you. So let's see. And I have other questions for you as well. How can preppers unite if the SHTF?
Okay, that's actually, will you hold on to that for just a second? Yep. Because somebody asked, about a family contract that we have talked a lot about.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Do you have plans, Cliff, that your family can come and stay with you, or you might go and stay with them in a long duration emergency? Like if you have to move or they have to move?
I don't want them by myself, especially my mom. She's in her 70s. I'm not sure if she might be watching it in the comments section. But yeah, we have a pretty small circle of trust basically for those type of things. And depending on the emergencies, like my mom lives fairly close to Mount Rainier, for example. And if there's something were to happen there, I don't want her in the danger zone. So in the blast zone. So I think that it's important to have kind of a north, south, east, west kind of, who do you know north of you, like if we're a ways away, who's south of you, because where I live, at least like if we're talking the greater Seattle area, we have threats of volcanic eruptions, we have threats of tsunamis, we have threats of wildfire. So it kind of depends on where it's coming from. But I think that family is first for a lot of these prep things, because I don't know, I have a lot of good friends too, but I get blood is thicker than water, and most of the time. So
Kelly and I have kind of our own written contract, and it's more of like the rules of staying with us. If you're going to come here, these are the rules you have to adhere to, because at no point in time, no matter how long you're here, whether you're here for a day, a week, or a month, you cannot interfere with my family, with my wife and my relationship, with the rearing of our children. We kind of just have ruled these things out that kind of stop problems before they even exist. So it's a general understanding of what you can do and what you can't do. I wouldn't want my sister-in-law walking around in just skivvies or negligee, just kind of smart things that you want everyone to be respectful of each other. If they have problems, you want them to discuss them openly. You want them to write down the things that they have agreed to between people, so it's not a he said, she said at any point in time. And we kind of have these written out. So I think that's a big thing that each one of us could institute for our families, that, hey, if you're going to come here, I just want to have this ready so that, we can make sure that we are happy together and we can work well together and not be fighting and bickering about little things.
Yeah, we don't have that level of detail planned out, but I think that's the way to go. And I think I've been working on kind of my ice binder that has, like, in case of emergency, like
Yeah, right.
like getting it all documented, because when it's a stressful situation, you don't want to forget forget
That's
stuff.
right.
So
Yeah,
having it,
right.
I see that my mom is watching. I see Tups mom. I am watching. Am I coming to stay with you?
Awesome.
Yes, mom. You're coming to stay with me. So you should come out anyway, right? That's
That's
cool. So,
right.
all right, so my mom's watching. Okay, I saw that someone gave a super chat, and thank you for the super chat, by the way. How do I feed my quail if there isn't grain-based high protein feed available? Did you?
So
Yeah.
yeah. So we grow mealworms. Mealworms are one of the easiest things that you can grow. You can do it in a bucket in your house. All you have to do is control the humidity so that you don't get mold on the oatmeal or the potatoes. So all it takes to grow mealworms, and we've done a video about this a couple of maybe like 8 months ago, something like that. You need oats, you need potatoes, or some sort of vegetable that will give off water, and then you need the mealworms. That's it. They go through the larva stage, the beetle stage, the eggs and pupa all on their own. You just leave them in there, and then you separate the larger beetles into another one so that they lay eggs in a new container. You keep repeating this over and over again. If you do that, and then I don't know if you know kudzu. Kudzu is one of the most invasive weeds in our entire country. It's one of the
Huh.
most invasive weeds in the world. And when you see trees that are just covered by green vines, that's kudzu. It's like 34% protein. You can grab it, you can dry it up, chop it up, boil it, dry it out, and give it right to your quail or right to your chickens along with mealworms. And you're in a great position to never have to buy feed again.
I'm going to put that up on the screen really quick. Let's see if I can
Okay.
get this going. There we go. See, I have a comment there. Let's see. Yes, kudzu. Okay, so that's what I need to look for high in protein.
Actually, and all across the world, we don't eat it here. We really should, because it's edible. The only thing that is non-digestible on the entire plant is the film that's on the outside. And if you watch Asian cultures as they're
Uh-huh.
preparing it, they're just peeling off this kind of hair-like film. They chop it up, boil it, and eat it. So
Wow.
you actually, it's so invasive, Cliff, that you cannot take it across state lines, and you're not allowed to purposefully plant it on anywhere that is not owned by you, because it just
Wow.
takes over everything. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's great for us,
That's
because
good to
that
know.
means every year it'll keep coming back and over again. You never have to do anything with it.
Yeah, it's several months back. I had a guest on. I don't know if you know Clara from Great Depression Cooking.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was, and her grandson came over who presented all of that, and we talked about like she during the Great Depression they would eat dandelion salad basically, and I think a lot of the weeds and the stuff that we don't think about now, or maybe or this kudzu, which I'm going to have to research now. It seems like that's open season for if in case of emergency.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
uh,
Brian asked, how's the taste of the leaf? So the kudzu leaf is really just like any sort of leafy green. It has a sort of a semi-pungent taste to it, kind of like spinach, Kelly says. It's not bad.
cool. People are saying hi to my mom. Okay, here we go. Two of the best prepper channels. I saw some good questions. Let's see. Do you think that you could survive a SHTF situation without growing crops like rice and wheat? So I'm imagining that eventually you'll run out of, like, because I think a lot of us have our 5-gallon buckets with Mylar bags and the rice stored up and everything like that. But I don't have a rice farm out in the back. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, our long duration emergency plan is always potatoes, not
Yep.
rice or wheat or oats or anything like that. It's just potatoes. As far as the dense carbohydrates. Now, the person's channel is Born Free Prepper Thailand.
Yeah.
Thailand is the prime example of where they grow kudzu for food. So I can just switch over to potatoes and kudzu and chicken eggs and all that, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I learned from the movie The Martian that you want to have potatoes. That's
That's
what
right.
I've been training for the past few years to try to get my potatoes better, but they keep ending up super dinky, like I don't know, like you would get at a fine dining restaurant.
Yeah,
Or
like
something like that.
yeah, marbles.
Yeah, I'm keep getting these marbles, so I'm slowly improving. This year was better than last year, but I'm hoping that 2022, hopefully I'll be ready by then. So here we go. Mary has a nice question here. Let's see. Do any preppers do let's see, dixtamulation of large bags of dry whole kernel corn to make their own corn-based foods like tamales and tortillas? Okay, got it. I don't, but
I do not. do any preppers do? I've never heard of that before. Nixtamulation
Yeah, that
of
one.
large bags. You'd have to give
Mary,
me.
no big words with us preppers, okay?
Yeah, please.
This is
Okay.
please. What's
We do use whole corn, and we grind it ourselves, and we use that. I can bring you a tub full of just ground corn that we use. Yeah, you can give me the tub. But we do it just off of popcorn kernels, because if you grind popcorn kernels, so we buy them by the 50-pound bags, and you grind them up. And so this is what you get. You get ground corn flour. We use that to make our ground tortillas, cornmeal, things like that.
Yeah, we do. I think popcorn's an awesome prep to get, and we get those over at the restaurant supply store, and I put them in the Mylar bags just like that. Okay, I had to look up that big word, Mary. So
okay, nixtamulation must be mixing or just grinding up with something else.
I think it's a great idea. I just don't I don't do it enough in my normal cooking to warrant yet. But I'm gonna have to look into it. It looks like. Cool. If you're just tuning in now to the live stream, we're talking to Brad from Full Spectrum Survival. We also have Kelly that's in the background. I don't know. I don't think Brad has an earpiece or anything, so she's not feeding him the lines and stuff. So she's right there.
She's just watching.
Brad and I, in addition to Canadian Prepper and City Prepping, are going to be. We have a new channel coming out, a collaboration channel that's going to be kickstarting this weekend called Think Preparedness, where we're going to be doing these type of discussions with the four of us on various preparedness and survival type topics. It's going to be a lot of fun. Brad and I, this is the first time we've actually spoken together, just the two of us. Yeah. So we're super excited about that particular channel. There's a link in the description box if you want to check it out. There's no videos yet, but the first video is coming out this weekend. So you might as well subscribe, click the notification button, and then you can check out some of the top things that we're going to talk about. So
we're kind of still in discussion here, because we, on each of our respective channels, we have certain items that we talk about and say or don't say. So we're like, okay, here's some free ground that we can really do some talking.
Yeah. Like on my channel, I pretty much stay away from current events. I do prep, I do kits and organization stuff, and I have to kind of play it fairly safe, because I still kind of operate within an urban environment and of the corporate setting. And so I don't want to go full prepper on everyone, but at least on what I present. But it's going to be fun to be able to talk about a lot of these things with the three of you and get kind of the different perspectives. Because like, I think you and we live in completely different regions, I think. So it's going to be, I think it's always nice to see where everyone's coming from, depending on where the region is and their thought process and stuff. So again, check out Think Preparedness. You could also find it on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Nothing's there yet, but stuff's going to come there pretty soon. So.
Yeah, real soon.
Cool. Yeah. So great. So thanks for anyone that's just coming in now. A lot of people are saying, it's going to be Jamie. It is going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. So yeah. Someone says, "But you can never go full prepper." Yeah, never go, never go full prepper.
Yeah, Doc. Doc says he's in the state of Alabama. That's where we're at. We chose Alabama because we wanted somewhere that was where people were used to living frugal. I hate to say that they were used to living poor, but that was really my goal. I wanted to go to a place where I could live poor but still live a good lifestyle that was away from the Joneses. And so that's really one of the reasons why we chose Alabama, was because people in our area, they will get by with less than most of the United States, and they're happy to do it. People are reusing milk cartons for animal feed containers or for water containers. They're, you have cars that are in non-working condition that are at a centralized location that everybody in the community just goes to and gets the parts they need. They're really used to that sort of community to hold things together when you don't have a lot of money to make it happen. So I think that was a pretty smart decision for us, because that's kind of the direction everyone's going, is to getting by with less.
Yeah, I think that's my grandparents. They were around. They were very young during the Great Depression, but they've talked about the stories, and they got by, and they had they stayed positive, and they were probably the real preppers. They never called it preparedness back then. That's just how you lived.
Yeah. It's just survival. Yeah,
that's just survival, and I really think that they appreciated a lot of the little things more than what some of the stuff we probably take for granted now. Me going to Starbucks or something like them.
That's right. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of lessons learned from the folks that came before us. So let's see. This is a question from Carmen, who used the proper format. Question. What will a societal collapse look like in America? And do you think we are at the beginning of the end of days?
If you mean biblically, the end of days, I don't have too much to say on that, other than that I guess anything that starts is determined to have an end. Beyond that, what will a societal collapse look like? Yeah, you're absolutely beginning to see through the social contract that held people together. They're quick to act. They don't have any room for anger management. They don't have any de-escalation capabilities. The government is purposefully keeping ammunition out of the hands of the majority by making it inaccessible and allowing the price to be inflated. We are experiencing social change, and it's not for the better. So what it's going to look like in America, in my opinion, is going to be very much what it has looked like in South Africa. And let me tell you, it's not something that is great. But also, you have to think, well, people are living through it right now. And so, of course, people are going to live through it in America, too. But going to the store is going to get more dangerous. Your wife and children or your husbands and son might not be going out just running on the street at night like they could in 2017 if that was something that, they took part in. So there's definitely going to be social change. It's just going to get a lot more dangerous. Your money is going to become worth less, and you're going to have to work harder to survive.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm looking at some of the questions over here. We have Michelle. How long do potatoes last in the refrigerator, or do you freeze them? I know that for potatoes they don't last too long in the refrigerator, but I think they last. They're better in a paper bag. But I think if you cook the potatoes, you could store them in the freezer. Actually, working on a video on this right now, so I have the figures right here.
Awesome.
So in the freezer, if you cook before freezing, they'll last 10 to 12 months.
And then if you can them, of course, you can make them last.
Yes,
for years.
yeah, and you can too. Yeah, so that's been my big thing over the past over a year now, since talking a lot with Sutton Stays and other folks, Alaska Prepper, as far as like the pressure canning and canning foods, because that's what I'm working on a lot.
If you look in my pantry, Cliff,
yeah,
it's not it's full of things that we've canned, but it's not packed of things that we've canned, because I can't get over the fact that it's more economical and it's more readily available to just go buy those canned goods.
Yep.
I don't have to invest the time or the energy to make sure that it's done right. We still can, and we put it away. But I think it's important that everyone knows how to do it. But I still think right now, if you had a choice between buying a canner and buying the materials and canning it yourself, you need to do it to know how to do it. But invest in stockpiling your pantry worth of cans.
Yeah, the one that I really like is I like doing it for the canned meats, because
Sure, yeah.
we eat a lot of meats, and I also like having stuff stored in glass versus in a tin can, then, for example, right. Which leaves there's different
and
tastes.
Things that you can't get, like marmalade. You want to make your own strawberry jam, those types of things. It's great. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. I'm just kind of reading through the comments over here. How do you store long-term pet food? So I know you have animals probably in addition to pets then too.
Okay, so people aren't going to like this very much. We buy food ahead of time, so we'll have a couple of months ahead. Excuse me, I got a catch from talking all day. But we also breed rats, and we breed rats specifically for the purpose of, we sell them right now because economically it's great. We sell them as pet rats, and we always have that constant line going. But as soon as I can't buy dog food, you can bet your last bullet I am breeding rats to feed my dogs. And that's You can do the same thing with your rabbits. You can do your same thing with your other things. I'm not going to eat the rats. A rat can live off of one kernel of dog food a day or a couple of kernels of popcorn per day. They're really like nature's larger cockroaches. They can live off of almost anything. So I can breed them, feed them to my dogs, add in some other things, and then I have a plan that doesn't make me, just have like 200 Mylar bags worth of dog food in the cargo container.
Wow, that's the first time I've heard that strategy. I know about like a lot of people doing rabbits, but for homegrown rats for preparedness purposes,
that's right.
That's awesome. Well, cool.
And I mean, we have some rats like the dwarf rats. Let me tell you, I can breed a pair of dwarf rats and I can sell one as a pet for $200. There's really a special niche of people who want these dwarf rats, and they're really cute, and the kids love them. They never get real big. So economically, it's viable right now, and in the future, it's survivable.
Someone's asking, how do you process a rat?
You just gut it and boil it, and then chop it up and give it.
It's for the dogs. It's not for.
That's right.
It doesn't need to be too fancy.
That's right.
What about the rat pandemic that we potentially face, especially the one that's occurring in Australia right now?
Yeah, we have good control measures to not let our rats get out of where we're at, out of their enclosures. I know that you guys over there in Australia just have like ocean waves of rodents just coming over the hills. I would take advantage of that, and I would get out there and I'd be practicing and plinking with my pellet gun or BB gun, or if you can't have like a little 22, start feeding your animals right now.
Awesome. The vet says rabbit is great for dog food. Okay.
I agree. Yeah. And the high priced dog food, they put a little picture of a rabbit on the front, and I'm sure they use it.
Yeah. Question. Thoughts on cold climate and weather crops?
So I think that you're going to need to prepare for the extreme on both sides in the next couple of years. We have greenhouses for the colder times than we think it's going to be. And then we have the readiness to shade the crops. I think that only by preparing for those two polar opposites are you going to be able to navigate kind of whatever wild direction that our planet decides to take.
All right, next question. We're going rapid fire right here with full spectrum survival. So we're just going to go right through them. Again, I'm trying my best. If I miss your question, I apologize ahead of time. The question helps catches my eye when I'm looking through them. So let's keep going. I also have some more questions of my own if we ever need to get there. So is Northwest Florida a good place to live for preppers in terms of like-minded people?
I think it is. The further you can get away from a city, the better. A big city. Like we came from an area that there was a million people in our county. It was just too many people. If you can get away from that, you're in a great position. But I don't ever like to forget that in the middle of Syria, in an apartment complex during their civil war, there's grandmas and grandpas who are surviving that huge social disaster in the cities, in apartment complexes that are just riddled with bullets and large armament. They are still surviving. So no matter where you're at, it's really you that's going to make sure that you survive.
This question is from Barney. I love this guy's channel. Oh, this isn't a question. This guy's awesome. Yeah, he is awesome, isn't he, Barney?
No, he's talking about your channel, Cliff.
Well, geez, thank you. I was talking about you. Barney, thanks for watching a bunch. Question. How would you go about prepping and planning a bug out plan for a father of 4 living in the middle of the city? I mean, I have thoughts on that. I don't know if you have thoughts on it.
You shoot first, yeah.
Yeah, this is for Jory. Jory, start off small, start off with practical things. Although we're kind of talking about, there's kind of a sense, everyone's kind of feeling this sense of urgency on preparedness. I always tell people to start with food and water first, because that you need food and you need water. It doesn't matter. Some of the other things, food, water, and medication is what I would focus on. We talk about this a little bit in the Think Preparedness video, by the way. Think Preparedness is going to be coming up live this weekend, so make sure that you subscribe to that link in the description box below. I start with the things that make sense practically, because not everyone like Brad has a Kelly where they're totally into what you're doing preparedness wise. So I think it could scare people off. Like my wife's down with a lot of the food preparedness stuff now, but not everyone's spouse. Sometimes it's kind of they think you've lost it or whatever. I would focus on the things that make sense from vehicle standpoint, from food and water. Everyone has to go through a power outage at some point, so just kind of being prepared for those kind of things. And eventually, as you start using those in an actual emergency, it'll encourage the others within your family to want to get involved and to be ready for certain things. Also, I think medical is another good one. But really, being prepared in the city isn't too much. It's the same concepts that you would apply in the rural environment, but you just have different. You don't have a big, humongous garden that you would, so you're going to have to do container gardening, for example, and having your potatoes in 5-gallon buckets. And when we were more living towards the downtown area, I had a storage unit filled with 5-gallon preps and stuff. So I kind of had to have a kind of an outbuilding, because we kind of outgrew a lot of what we had in the apartment that we're staying at. But I also think that for organization in the cities, oftentimes you're going to have less space. I would look at organization strategies that they apply in Japan, for example, in Tokyo, who have to live in apartment settings. They deal with earthquakes a lot, and they have a lot of really unique hiding spots for the supplies that they need. And prepping is just not all about gear. It's also, knowledge and skills, but you got to eat eventually. So
yeah. And he said, as a father of 4, I have 2 children myself. My children, they know that, remember I told you before about the realities of the world. They know that these realities exist, but in no way do they their sureness is that dad handles everything and mom handles everything. And they don't even have the concern of that beyond normal things, stranger danger, of course, things like that. So for us, to get them ready for a disaster, we choose positive reinforcement. We take them camping. We go out in the woods and start fires. We cook over a fire. We track animals. We, do these things that you're going to use these exact same skills in a disaster, but you're already doing them. I think our society really screwed the pooch, so to say, when we allowed Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts to really be taken away from us as the positive move that they used to be, the positive thing that they used to be. And now there's a big dark shadow over top of it. And I think that if we take that responsibility into our own hearts and we give it to our children to take them camping and to take them out on adventures and learn how to fish, learn how to trap, do all these things that are fun, no matter what the world throws out at them, no matter what is thrown at them as far as disasters go, they know what to do and they know how to survive. And that's how at night I rest well, knowing that if I'm not able to help them, they already know how to start a fire, stay warm at night, hunt. They know how to get out there and cook their food. They know how to forage at least locally available edibles. They know these things already. And it's just second nature to them because they've always been camping.
Yeah, we with my son, I've been a Cub Scout den leader when he was in Cub Scouts. Awesome. Now he's in Boy Scouts. He has a nice little troop that they still. It's a good troop. Kind of here, kind of talking that some stuff has gone kind of awry with some of the other ones, but
yeah, it has made it so that the majority really kind of stopped wanting to get involved in it.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's harder to recruit people, but I think that normalizing a lot of these camping and survival and cooking and fire starting and all those kind of things in a Cub Scout type environment can be applied. Then actually, they're learning stuff as they're doing in a fun activity. Then that could be applied for real things. So I think like any time that you could do something with the family that has kind of a kill two birds with one stone, where it's a fun family activity, but you're also doing something that could be applied to preparedness. That goes back to the father of four. Then trying to figure out opportunities to do those kind of things I think are cool. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Let's see. Question: what do you think about snow on the greenhouse? We don't have a greenhouse yet, but what do you think about snow?
We don't get much snow, thankfully. Yeah. If we did, I would have to take those things into more consideration. Maybe building it in a way that I could either shed the snow naturally or just be prepared that no matter what's going on outside, you're going to have to get out there and you're going to have to clean it off.
Yeah. Let's see. What's this? This is from Mike. Question: where does security firearms fall in regard to food, water, electric vehicle, and budget?
Yeah, for me, if you can't protect what you have against people who are going to, if we all had sticks and stones, well, we'd all have sticks and stones. But because the bad guys in our world are using more than sticks and stones, I feel that to the best of your ability, you need to prepare for that. So for me, security is a huge part of preparedness, because what's the point of me doing all these things if I can't hold on to my life or my children's life or my wife's life to get through the disaster itself? So I think we all have to kind of take that into our own hearts and decide what's right for us individually. Some people are very against it or can't own it for one reason or another. Maybe a transgression in a previous life makes it so that they can't even think about it. If I didn't have access to firearms, and let's not even say that, I wasn't able to have one, but if I just didn't have access, I would be utilizing, look at what the Viet Cong did during Vietnam. They used really rudimentary tools and they kept at bay an aggressor with better firepower, better communication, a better drive. They just had the will to survive. And so getting used to using those tactics and sort of the guerrilla tactics mindset, where it's better to make one strike and pull back and kind of assess a situation or evade the situation altogether. I think that's really the sort of mindset that people need to take on. But for me, I have a firearm. I have the availability of it. Kelly and I both shoot regularly. I think that that's a part of American preparedness, simply because if we all had sticks and stones, well, I'd have a decent sized stick and a couple of stones too.
Yeah, I think Bill Burr, I don't know why I'm referencing Bill Burr twice in the same live stream, but I think he's probably a closet prepper, because he talks about how he needed to get a gun because he's just saving all these preps for the toughest person on the block that's just going to take it from him. But I definitely think it's a tool of preparedness. I don't really cover anything like that on my channel. We grew up in a family that wasn't into firearms because of a bad experience that happened with my
Sure.
younger brother, where he, if my mom's still watching, she might not like that I'm telling this story, but when he was a little kid, basically, my dad was visiting his buddy, who was his best man at the wedding, and
Yeah.
his buddy was a bachelor and had firearms and on his nightstand and stuff. And my brother was wandering around, found this firearm on the nightstand, and came out, thought it was a toy gun, and shot it between my dad and his friend. Bullet goes out, and it
Could have been
scary.
disastrous.
Could have been disastrous, and it was
yeah.
scary. And at that point, hey, we're not touching this kind of thing. But
That's right. Yeah.
then, when I became a parent myself, then you start thinking about it. Well, what am I going to do if I have to protect I have this little kid now that's I need to protect? Like, what am I going to do? I also think for security, like not just things that go bang, but I think camera systems are important. Alarm systems are important. Having 3-inch screws in your doors is important. Having locks,
Absolutely.
I even perimeter motion sensors and all the floodlights, all those kind of things for me falls into the level as we're talking home security, at least. So
yeah, I mean, I think that having all of those things makes it so that you don't even have to get to that point.
Yeah.
Number one, your fence, your dogs, all of those things make someone, they'll go to someone's house who doesn't have that.
Yep.
It won't come to yours because you do have that. And until that, criminals are always going to choose the path of least resistance or the opportunity that they think they can get away with at that time, and just rob them of that. Let's take back from them, rob them of that opportunity. Keep your lights on, make sure your presence is always known. Don't don't allow yourself to be seen. You got to kind of think about it in jail. If you walk into jail and you see these guys that go in, they come out a whole different person, because to survive that event, they had to change their entire life. And you have to harden yourself. So don't be a victim before you're a victim. And we have to make those changes right now, even if you can't own a firearm.
Yeah. Again, thanks everyone in the chat room. A lot of cool conversations going on. I'm reading it as I go and talking and trying to click the right buttons for this. So thanks everyone for keeping everyone in the know. Thanks. Let's see this question on silver. So are $500 in silver, 1 ounce silver coins, a basic prep for currency collapse?
Were you giving my silver up there? So I was just looking over.
Are we doing a silver grab really quicker?
Yeah, I was just looking over some of the silver that we have. And, it is important. I mean, you look at places like Venezuela right now, and Venezuela is using currency, precious metal currency, and they're doing this to buy a haircut, to purchase a hotel, to get a restaurant, food at a restaurant. They're using shades of their currency. And you have some silver there?
Yeah, I've been for a while now. I have a automatic through American Precious Metals exchange.
The renewal program.
Yeah, the renewal program, and it's not a lot. It's like I'll buy, but after a few months, it starts adding up, and you just get a bunch of these. I don't know if you can see it with this here, but yeah, I just every month I just toss them in here, and I get various sizes. Sometimes they're little small ones, sometimes they're 1 ounce ones, but I think it's important to have for your prep. So.
Yeah, for me, I mean, if I have a choice and I can buy some silver or I can buy some canned food, first I'm going to buy the canned food. If I still have the choice next month, I'm going to buy some silver, because I can use this today and go buy some canned food with it if I need to. So you're really just holding your money somewhere else. And if something were to happen, I mean, if anything, as the world gets worse, precious metals go up.
Yep.
Look at, as the world gets worse, the cost of food goes up. So we have all these events taking place. It's a smart decision, in my opinion. But first, get your pantry stocked.
Yes.
Get your water solution taken care of. Do all those things. And then the next month that you're completely filled up and you go, okay, well, I might buy some silver, then it's the time to do it.
Yeah, totally. I think we talked about this on Think Preparedness, but I've been trying to rotate through. Okay, I'm going to do a little silver this time. Now I'm going to do a little Bitcoin this time. Now I'm going to do gold and stuff, because I don't trust the paper stuff right now. So I don't want I want it in my hands. I don't want somewhere in some account or something like that. Yeah.
Recently I had kind of coined the phrase that the history books right now talk about the people who got into certain stocks like Coca-Cola during the last depression. I guarantee you that the history books are going to talk about people today that got into cryptocurrency as people who went from almost nothing to buying into something. Look at how many millionaires there are from buying into Bitcoin.
Yep.
I mean, there's just a massive amount. The history books are going to talk about it. And I do think it has a place in an investment portfolio at the least.
Yeah, totally. let's see. We have someone here. I am a prepper and also ex-prisoner. Have turned my life around and cannot own security. Great point on Viet Cong. Yeah, awesome, Nicholas. Glad to hear that you that turned everything around
Yeah, that's awesome.
and sharing that with us and into preparedness. Let's see. I don't know if you see any questions over here, or Kelly sees any. Let me know. Which ones
She did send me a couple.
Okay.
Multiple times. She says cold weather crops. What are the cold weather crops that people are asking about? Lettuce, kale, spinach, radish, garlic, cabbage, potatoes, Brussels sprouts, Swiss chard are those things that you'll want to get invested in into cold weather. Bizarriza says, how much does Brad think the January 4th OSHA mandate will increase shortages and hyperinflation?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that it's going to have a large impact on our near future. I already know people who are prepared to make personal life changes because of it. And I kind of stand with people. I stand behind them for whatever choice they're going to make. I don't think that, and I don't really even want to get into what it is and what it's doing to people as far as conditioning. I think that we are going to see a continued forward momentum or progression in overreaching authoritarian measures, and those measures aren't really going to stop. I mean, we're just on a path that's going to keep going, but I do think it's going to increase shortages and hyperinflation. Angie asked, what's the best way to initiate a community, the do's and don'ts? In my opinion, Cliff, and give me some of yours here, I think you just have to make a friend first, and then you have to vet them out through making sure they're going to come help you with something when you need it, when it's not convenient for them. And then you need to make sure you're going to come and help them when they need it, when it's not convenient for you. And then if you do that and you see that kind of giving back and forth, you have a pretty solid friend there that you can start talking about what you could do together if things get bad.
Yeah, I think at least in an urban environment, I think knowing your neighbors is important. And I don't want to seem like too much of a stalker, but I have I try to be organized in some of these things. I have basically a map of our neighborhood, and
Sure.
I know who's okay. This person grows onions. This person grows tomatoes. I think home gardening is a nice. People that are into gardening. They like showing it off and talking with each other, and they usually have extra items. And so oftentimes we're trading for, like, we have a
That's
walnut
awesome,
tree, and we could trade walnuts for eggs or something. So I think knowing your neighbors and just doing that on a normal basis as much as you can now. I also have neighbors that we do a bourbon exchange with each other because
nice.
we found that we all like bourbon. Actually, this one particular neighbor, he didn't really care for us too much in the beginning, but I won him over with some bullet bourbon. So not real bullets, but bullet bourbon. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
One other person asks, and this is the last of the questions that Kelly gave to me.
Cool.
Terry said, how do you store large amounts of water safely?
Yeah, I saw another water question similar. So
yeah, that's a tough one. And for me, it's all about not storing that water necessarily as much as having a location to get water and having the ability to treat it to make it safe to drink. If I can do those two things, then I don't need to store as much, because water and bullets are going to be the two things that weigh you down the most. And water is going to save your life, but bullets might save it quicker. So I would offset carrying those instead. But I have to have a way to treat it. You can make a sand filter very easily. It's just sand, charcoal, different levels of stone. They make sand filters were going to be the water filtration system that America used back in the 1880s to 1890s. They were building them massive, just huge pits for the sand filters. And then they came up with different treatment methods instead. Mm-hmm. But you can do this on a small scale or a large scale, and it's something that everyone can do in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, City Prepping has a really good video on what if you want to store a lot of physical water, because he lives in California. I think it's a little drier than, right? It's raining water outside right now, so it's the physical water is not as much of an issue, at least in the Pacific Northwest. But I like storing ours in 5-gallon jugs because I could actually pick them up. I can't pick up a 55-gallon jug of water or barrel of water. It's too heavy, and it would allow, if I needed to transport water, I could transport at least 5 gallons at a time. And I agree with Brad that you have to have a way of purifying, and I think investing in a Berkey water filter would be a good thing to do, or anything that you can to actually clean the water and transport it. But for me, I like the 5-gallon jugs.
I have seen people, when we go out in the woods with them, who will not touch water because of the fear of waterborne disease, which waterborne disease is a rightful fear. it kills more people on our planet than all of the wars and car accidents combined together every year. It kills a lot of people. So that's a rightful fear. You're going to lose your life to diarrhea if you don't get this taken care of. So you can get a Berkey filter, like Cliff said. We've been using one for like 8-10 years with the Berkey Blacks, or you can use a Sawyer mini filter. Those are $20 at Amazon or Walmart. They take out the majors, cryptosporidium, all the nasty bacterias. It's $20 and it can save your life by filtering 100,000 gallons of water per unit. That to me is just a prep that, you know, it goes in your backpack and you don't even have to think about it, because like I said, I have known people who won't drink filtered water even through like a Sawyer mini because they're so afraid of waterborne disease. That's why you have to get out there and camp now, so that your wife or husband, your children, they just get used to it. Oh yeah, I know I can drink that water. This keeps me safe. I have to keep it from freezing, and they go about their day. It becomes just another facet of preparedness.
Yeah, we have I really like the Grail water bottle filter too. It's kind of the GeoPress one, and because it also does, it could do chemicals from what I
They
believe
can,
for
yeah.
the
And
sets.
Grail's
So
really good, but I think
yeah,
they'll only do like 10,000 gallons.
yeah,
right?
not as much, but we also have the Sawyer's, like that's a gift that you should give to everyone, like for a stocking stuffer idea. You can get them in a bulk pack. So man, rapid fire questions coming in. We're already at the hour mark. And I don't know how you're doing on time over there. I think
I think my voice will at least give me a little bit longer. So just keep them coming.
All right, we're gonna keep them coming, folks. So if you have the questions, put question all in caps, and I'll see it, and then we'll try to get it up here. Just kind of Mary. Okay. We have Mary again. How would Bitcoin or the like work if the electric grid and internet goes down?
Okay, so that is definitely a concern. And that's one of those things that if you're going to invest in that, you have to treat it like if I did buy a whole bunch of silver, what happened if something major took place and I wasn't able to use this in exchange to purchase canned goods or whatever else there might be? And that's just the out. If that happens and the electrical grid is just gone, the money you invested into that is out the window. But in the same way, you won't ever see me investing money that I am afraid I'll never get back into silver, and you won't ever see me investing money I'm afraid I'll never get back into cryptocurrency. I know people who have made tens of thousands of dollars on cryptocurrency. It's tempting, but I'll put a little bit in it, but that's because my canned food is stacked. That's because my bullets are stacked. That's because I already have a trauma kit. I already have all those things that are going to save my life today. I already have some silver. So, okay, well, I'll put $10 in this and see if this, funny meme coin decides to really go somewhere. And if you look like the Shibu coin, I mean, it's going through the roof right now. It's really there. Kelly and I got into, I keep saying, I call it doggy coin. What is it actually? Dodge coin. Yeah, I call it doggy coin because it's got a picture of a dog.
I'm going to start calling it doggy coin from now.
But we got into it when it was like 0.008 cents, and now it's like 0.40. It's like 40 cents. So I mean, those are huge gains if you get into it at a very low rate. But those kind of things are lottery. The silver, precious metals is more proven through history, but that doesn't mean you're not going to make $10,000 buying one silver coin, whereas one silver coin's worth of crypto could have made you a couple $1,000s. So I think it's a part of investment, but once your preparedness is taken care of.
Yeah, totally. Again, food and water first. I keep mine I have it in a Faraday bag. So if there's an EMP or something like that, and it's in a Nano Ledger hardware wallet, and actually, then I know. Yeah.
I was sitting around the fire. Kelly and I celebrated one of our group members and our friend's birthday around the fire. We threw him a barbecue the other day, and he had his family over, and they're in IT, they're in information technology. He said he has a friend who has a hard drive that's corrupted. The pins are shot. It's basically gone, but he has 3 Bitcoin on it. He said if you can find a way to recover it, he'll split the Bitcoin with him, but they just can't find a way to recover it, and they're not willing to send it off to someone to try to get it recovered. So, I mean, that kind of thing, if that happens, well, you're in trouble.
There's no tech support to call for if you let something happen to your Bitcoin.
That's right.
You're on your own. Cool. Let's see. Let's see. There's more stuff. Bitcoin. We've talked about that a little bit. Let's see. Let me know if you see one in particular. Thank you, gentlemen, for helping with us prepare. You're very welcome. Let's see. A lot of people just chatting.
I see somebody talking about airsoft.
Yeah.
Police officers, I didn't really see the context of what they were replying to before that, but police officers use virtual reality in their training programs. One, because ammunition is so hard to come by right now that it's more economical to get them into a virtual reality training program. And two, you're training the reaction, you're not training the use of the firearm. I think the same thing goes for airsoft. You're training the reaction, you're training the adrenaline, you're training how to do all those things. It doesn't take over your need to get to a range and safely take care of that marksmanship training, but it does give you some additional training that's very cheap to do it, and frankly it's fun to do with your friends and family, just like paintball.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't have any kind of airsoft guns, but I've been thinking about it for if need be, for if I needed to hunt some squirrels or something like that. I think it's a good option to do. So I think Canadian Prepper did a video recently about pretty slick one that he had. Cascadia Dispatch, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for, you like the color coordinated shirts and backgrounds.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got black, I got a black background. I'm gray, you got a gray background. That's pretty good.
I called up Brad. I'm like, hey, what are you wearing for this? Because I'm thinking of wearing my black shirt and I'm gonna have the gray background. That's fun. I didn't even notice that until I went with the gray background because for the whole, in honor of the gray man concept, I wanted just a clean background for mine.
Yeah,
right. You went with the gray shirt, so that's that's hilarious. Any special? I thought I saw this one. Any special preps while caring for the elderly?
Yeah, absolutely. My mom has dementia. So, you've got to take all of those different things that can happen during your older years with your family into account for preparedness. And that doesn't just go for neurodegenerative diseases. That doesn't just go for bad hips or anything like that. We start off on this planet very frail, and we take our last breath on this planet usually very frail if we're lucky enough and fortunate enough to get into the older ages. And so thinking about those things, making sure their vitamins are taken care of, making sure that their medicine, because as you get older, you need to take more and more medicine, usually because we are pushing those limits of modern pharmaceuticals or lifestyle changes, or we control our climate. They showed that just controlling your indoor climate and keeping it from between 60 to 80 degrees, I believe it was 60 to 80 degrees, just controlling that in houses extended people's lives. So as we get into a long duration emergency, if you run into no air conditioning and you're everyone's suffering at 85 degrees, it's too cold in the winter, everyone's bundled up in 55 degrees inside. If you don't continue to control those climates, you're going to have people get sick. They're going to not be able to get as much done. They won't move as much. All these different things that as you're older, they really affect you more. So I think preparing for the elderly in your group or in your neighborhood is really an important part. And I try not to let that overwhelm me, because again, the people who are living through the Venezuelan financial crisis, the Syrian civil war, all that is going on in Afghanistan right now, there are old people surviving those events too, and there are young children surviving those events. So we just need to take those special considerations into our hearts and say, okay, I'm going to do what I can and try to make sure that my preps kind of fill the most blanks as possible.
Yeah, I think the hard thing that I could think about right now is just like for any kind of medications and stuff that'd be pretty tough to be able to help with. When COVID first happened, there was the big mask shortage. No one had masks because no one was ready for it, and I had a decent amount, and so we went and helped a lot of the elderly. We had some elderly neighbors that they did not want to go outside because they didn't have any N95, so we were able to contribute some and did some other things like that. But I would think that the medication thing would be super tough to do for that. And oxygen and stuff like that.
Let me pull it up here, because just in this month's last month's newsletter that we sent out, let me see here, we were talking about caring for other people. Let me just pull up what I'd written about it here, because we were talking about getting kind of those things ready, making those lists and kind of chalking away at those things. And let me see, in the example above, I said, because I'm talking about is insulin more important to buy than an extra air conditioner? Insulin is the most important item that needs a stopgap measure, or the reason to prepare for it. There are dietary things that an insulin dependent can do to help. And according to the National Institute of Health, there are natural dietary items that can help act as a life-saving or stopgap measure if insulin becomes unavailable. This is, and let me go ahead and just post it here. This is a National Institute of Health study that discusses a natural ingredient, and I'm sure I'm going to ruin this name. It's Costus igneus, commonly known as the insulin plant of India. It belongs to this one specific family. Consumption of these leaves lower blood glucose levels, and diabetics who consume them they did report a fall in their blood glucose. So there are things that we can do, those things like insulin, that are really hard to get a hold of, especially really hard to plan for a year from now. Let's look into how we can use natural medicine in a way that doesn't negate pharmaceuticals, but we have a way to kind of bridge the gap if we can't get there.
Yeah, and in the Think Preparedness, the first one we have coming out, I think I talk a little bit about my concerns from a medication standpoint, because I have a lot of pills that I have to take for heart purposes due to things. Well, stay tuned for Think Preparedness coming up this weekend, and you subscribe to that, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. I saw that a Disney grandpa said medication, go ask your doctor. Yeah, that's what I did. Is I did 90-day prescriptions, and I've been paying for them out of cash, because oftentimes your insurance company doesn't want you just getting a bunch of 90 days, and so I just kind of taking the hit and then having a rotation in the same way that you would have a rotation for your canned foods and your water and all those kind of things. Folks, we're talking over here with Full Spectrum Survival. We have Kelly in the background. This has been awesome. It's been flying by. A lot of great questions coming in. A lot of people saying hello. A lot of I love the mealworms info. Yeah, I thought that was an awesome one. And if you want, the one that I think I'm going to remember the most is feeding the dogs, growing rats to feed for the dogs, and it doesn't take too much processing to do it.
That's right. Yeah. And somebody talked about a used oxygen generator. You can buy the Chinese knockoffs for around $350. Actually, when this most recent biological event started, and we saw that oxygen was becoming a thing that was really necessary, especially for people who take the bad luck draw on whatever they might catch. We went out and bought the oxygen generators and put them to use and tested them ourselves, and they work great. So they use zeolite, I believe, is the active natural compound that when you mix it with water, it creates oxygen. And
yes.
They make it so that you have basically oxygen in your home. So for $350, if somebody is having an asthma attack, or if they're having any other number of problems, you can give them oxygen just like a hospital would. That's not necessarily as sterile, but it's definitely better than nothing.
Yeah, I was going to do a review for a company I never actually got to, where you make your own oxygen, and it was it's what you're basically describing there. I didn't end up being able to do it because it provided oxygen for like 10 to 15 minutes, or maybe 20 at the most. But I thought a lot of people wanted to have more than that. But a problem with storing oxygen is that they're flammable. Flammable. So it's a little tough. So I think we have time for probably a couple more questions. I know it's a little late. It's getting late for me too, and I got to figure out dinner for the family. But folks, if people seem to like the show, let's see, the Will to Live. So again, we've been given some hints on the new collaboration channel that we have called Think Preparedness. It's with myself, with Full Spectrum Survival, with Canadian Prepper, and with City Prepping. And we're going to be doing long form discussions where we talk about various things preparedness wise, and doing like what we're doing here, but we're going to be doing it with the four of us, which should be a lot of fun. The first video is coming out this weekend. There's a little clip from that where us talking. I just took a screenshot as we were talking on it, so that one's coming out. Which should be a lot of fun, and that's going to be a regular thing where we're going to be talking frequently about various things preparedness wise. So
I think we're going to try to engage the community there, and maybe do some either community questions or live shows or something like that to really get everyone involved.
Yeah, I really like the live ones, because I like not knowing what question's coming, and then it's authentic. But it's also kind of distracting too if you don't have like someone helping out. I don't have a Kelly giving me some of the good questions
behind there. Yeah, that's right. Cliff, this was a question from Storm. Says, Urban Prepper, do you have a solar solution for our neck of the woods, coastal Washington, about 2 hours from your direction?
Okay, I just found that one. Yeah, so I have energy solar panels. We don't have like a home solar stuff on our roof, although I know a lot of our neighbors that are doing that. That's a long-term goal that we have. It's kind of a touchy subject, because I don't think my wife necessarily likes the look of that on the roof, basically. But I basically have several 100-watt panels and to use with the energy solar banks, basically. That's what I have. And I found that the folks that live close to me that do have they work pretty well, even in Washington, which is kind of, you wouldn't think that they would as well. But I have some friends that just recently installed that into their home. and it kind of you get like it's subsidized basically. But
Yeah.
I don't have the exact brand of it. I'd love to have like a power wall like the Tesla type thing, but that's first things first. I'm still trying to get more meat preps and other things. So, but
Sure. Yeah. So somebody asked, if we had any updates that we could give on our farm and what we're doing.
yeah,
Yes, actually, we are making some pretty sizable changes here. We're always trying to offset this financial crisis to the best of our ability. So Kelly is doing a couple of things on her side of things. I am blessed, I will say that, beyond measure, because my wife is a great cook, in my opinion, a great baker. And so she's like, okay, well, we have this homesteading law in Alabama, and I'm sure a lot of you have it too. It's called what is it? It's off the top of my head. I can't remember it, but it's basically where you can cook meals that don't have to be heated up and you can sell them. It goes under a certain provision under law that you don't have to have a whole bunch of different licenses for. And so you can do these things, and we're going to sort of start bringing these larger meal prep videos to the channel, and in ways that if you needed to cook things from your pantry using just staple ingredients, you can do this too. And as a side shoot of that, we'll be able to cottage food law is what it's called. We'll be able to, sell those goods, like those baked goods and things like that. So that's just one of the things that we're working on, but we're looking forward to kind of branching out and giving more information there.
that's awesome. That sounds really cool. I'm trying to figure out these last few questions because I feel bad that it's already getting kind of late. It seems that people seem to be appreciating the live stream, the collaboration. There's a thanks there. That's from Kelly from Full Spectrum Survival. New to the Think Preparedness. Yeah, go to Think Preparedness, go to Facebook, go to Twitter, but especially the YouTube. I think we're also going to probably do something. I'd like to see us on Odyssey too, because I'm always worried that YouTube's not going to like preppers after a certain point. So
yes, that's certainly a consideration.
Yeah. So
I've got a couple of questions here.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Sure.
Are freeze-dried foods healthy? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Awesome.
If you ask Canadian Prepper, he does not like the freeze dried food because they're loaded in salt and they don't taste that good. We have how do I get this current comment up? Let's see.
I guess I should change that. If you are freeze drying your food, it's extremely healthy.
Oh, okay. I don't have a freeze dryer currently. We used to have one and it broke down. I know that City Prepping is super big, and he has a really fancy freeze dryer. When I went to his house a couple of years back, he showed me his setup, and it was really sweet. And he was freeze drying soups that they made and all sorts of things. Awesome. We don't currently have one. We have I have like the store bought freeze dried foods, which for like a Mountain House type things. I have the number 10 cans, and for there's all the other food. I have some from all the food companies. So if you have something that's Thrive, I probably whatever it is. My Patriot Supply, all those we have those in various storage locations, and I have some at other we have storage units that are out away from the home, just in case the house burns down or something. I still have food, but I think it's good. But I would prefer to have like the stuff that you normally cook, because sometimes you never know if something's going to upset your stomach or anything like that. So
and as far as their health goes, they're about as healthy as a canned food. It just depends on who makes them and what other kind of preservatives they're trying to put in them, and then freeze drying those preservatives, adding salt to make it taste good. All those different things. Somebody said, have either of you ever tried a solar rechargeable light bulb? I have not. I have a couple of units that is just a small panel and lights, but I don't have just a light bulb.
Yeah, I have do I have one? I was testing one over here. It wasn't really a solar charging light bulb though, but it was let me get it really quick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been testing some there's other light bulbs that you could kind of charge up, so then when the power goes out, the light bulbs still technically work. Okay. I've been testing a few of those up, but as far as a solar charged one, I guess they have the inflatable ones. I forget the name of the brand. I was just those. I have those in various kits. I think they work pretty nice, and we use them in our like Boy Scout camping supplies. But I think for like solar lights, I think using the yard, the things that the decorative lights that you have in your garden, in your yard, and your pathway, those are solar charged. Just bring those in during a power outage and use those, charge them during the day, and when it's nighttime, use those in various pots.
I try to tell everybody, now that the dollar store, the Dollar Tree in the US is becoming the $1.25 or $1.50 tree because of inflation and everything else. But now, while you can get those $1.25 yard lights, because you have a small solar panel.
Yep.
If you take the small screwdrivers, like for eyeglasses, and you unscrew it, inside of that, you have 1 to 2 rechargeable AA batteries right in there. So you can use that. If you have 6 of them, well, now you have rechargeable batteries for your walkie-talkies, or that you can use using a conversion kit to charge your cell phone or whatever else there might be. You literally have a small little solar recharging unit right there that you can use for all sorts of other means.
Yeah, I never really thought about taking the batteries out of them. I just kind of have them for light purposes. I think it's good to have like 6 to 12 like in your yard, and then if you have to use them for that kind of purpose, you have them there ready to go.
Right,
And it's like a dual purpose type things. People seem to Q Kitchen and enjoy listening to this. I feel for you in the Washington and envy full spectrum survival. Yeah, I envy a lot of when I watch your videos and I see all the animals and stuff like that. I get super jealous because I think that's kind of the ultimate goal for us preppers, is to get to more of like a homestead type thing where we're less on the grid. I feel like almost handcuffed in a lot of ways just because of how reliant I am. It's for work purposes, but I think the long-term goal is to get to where you and Kelly are at, for where you're at. So I totally agree with that.
I try to do it in moderation, because I think that we have this sort of utopian view of homesteading or off-grid, living off-grid, that is barely or narrowly reachable. I don't think it's very easy to reach, because let me tell you something. My wife loves to make a chocolate chip cookie bake for my kid's birthday, and I am not growing a chocolate tree anytime soon. So, there's all these things that I think that's why I think we all have to just work all as hard as we can in every area that we can, and then not let those, we have in humans, at least me, because maybe I'm a little autistic or have some, ADHD or something. I almost get this: if I can't do it all, I don't want to do it. And so that's where those writing down those things and sticking to those notes really helps me, because I can say, okay, well, I do want to get this breed of chicken. I do want to prove out these different things and grow this year. Even though I can't do all of it and handle all of these things, I know I can do these, and I start to chalk away at that. So for me, that's a good way to kind of move forward. And you do that enough times, and you have now achieved a massive amount of preparedness that a lot of people strive to do.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I started off small. I started off into thinking about preparedness back in 2008, 2009, because I was worried about losing my job. And, I've been doing it for 10 years now. And these little things, it's like eating an elephant, like one bite at a time. It starts adding up after a while. Then for me, it's just little pieces of peace of mind. Like, okay, I have peace of mind that my vehicle's ready. I have peace of mind on water. I have peace.
That's right.
And for me, it helps with the kind of anxiety and the stress and the stuff that keeps me up at night. And then I'll watch a full spectrum survival video, and then I'll be
even more. Yeah. I need to go back to do something else.
Yeah. Then I'm like, oh crap, I got to get my grow my rats. And
that's right. I'll send you some rats. I don't think the postal people would have.
Okay. Yeah. Just don't send those weeds over. I forget the weeds.
Yeah. Kudzu. That's right.
Yeah. So the urban prepper and full spectrum survival have great smiles. Yeah. We have great smiles, and we have inverse clothes and backdrops for this video.
Yeah,
so
very cool.
Well, I think that's on that note. We should probably wrap this one up. I think it's getting kind of late. It's time for dinner for me, at least. Again, guys, make sure sorry.
If I can handle one last question, I think this is definitely one of your viewers, because one thing, Cliff, is you have got EDC on the drop. That is a thing that you really take care of, and I think it's a great thing, because so many people, that's something somebody just getting into preparedness can go, okay, I can get an everyday carry together.
It's the gateway drug for preparedness.
Yeah, and it's awesome for people. So Tony F asked, what does Brad typically carry for EDC?
Oh, we have a special banner for this. Hold on, let me get it ready. Okay, EDC check time. What do you get? So
okay, so right now I have a 38 special that I carry every single day. Interchangeably, my wife also carries a 38 special. You want to show them yours? Hers is a little bit different than mine. I might get different looks.
Am I going to get demonetized here, or what's going on?
I'll just show you a bit of it so that you can see a little bit of the flavor of what it's like, because I can't show the whole thing because we're on YouTube. But I'll show you the color here. And the color, as you can see there, is a very hot pink.
Nice.
So her EDC is interchangeable with mine. If we each have different strips so that we have enough, projectiles for our tool. We each have knives inside of there. We carry epinephrine pins, because that's something that I feel that if you need an epinephrine pin because somebody's going into an allergic reaction, has anaphylaxis to one thing or another, just got stung by a whole bunch of yellow jackets or bees, you don't. if you don't have it, you're going to be really chasing behind the ball using Benadryl or something like that until you can get emergency care where they're going to give you epinephrine. So we carry over-the-counter medication, Bayer aspirin. I don't take Bayer a lot. I don't take aspirin a lot because it will burn a hole right through your stomach. But I do keep Bayer aspirin in my EDC because if you have a stroke or if you have a heart attack, it is going to increase your chance of having a life-saving outcome. Also carry things like, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, Tylenol. We do these things because it's something I think everybody can really take care of. Then we have a small cell phone brick. We have our cell phone inside of it. We have our communications plan that's on a little laminated, printed out card. In the moment of stress, when something happens, you need to remember those things. If you have this happen, you need to call a lawyer. If you have this happen, you need to get to this location. If you have this happen, it has important contact information on it. And if a cop was to, you get an accident or something, the cop gets it, it has your contact info on it. So if you're not able to speak or talk to them. When I had an accident about 5 years ago, I got hit by a car while I was riding my bicycle. Jeez. And I broke my zygote right here. You can see the scar there. I had a traumatic brain injury. You can see the scar here. Broke 5 of my ribs. Had a spine injury. Fractured my vertebrae and had a laceration, a grade 4 laceration in my liver from one of the ribs splitting into it. I didn't have that card on me or anything. So as I'm starting to come to and I've got these people around me, I'm holding on to my pack, which I know has my firearm in it, gripping onto that because I don't really know what's going on, and not letting anyone touch it or near me because I didn't know what was happening. My only thought was that has a tool inside of it and I'm not going to let it get into the hands of anyone else. And then finally, when the paramedics and the cops arrived, I had the peace of mind to give them my information, tell them what was inside of that bag, explain, because I had what was it, like famotidine, which is like Pepsid AC cut in half. And the cop was like, "What is this? Is it drugs?" I was like, "No, it's Pepsid AC, but you have to be able to be cognizant enough to give them that information." So without that EDC kind of like to-do list, you might get lost in what you need to do or who you need to call. So I think that's an important part of my EDC, and maybe you could share with us, Cliff, kind of how yours has evolved.
Oh, well, mine's, I try to keep everything first off, before saying about mine, I love the that you mentioned, the EpiPen. We carry one in our vehicles. I don't EDC. I wouldn't say that I EDC EpiPen, but my son needs to have it available. And it looks like you mentioned it in the video recently that where to pick it up at. So I need to check that out then. But for me, for EDC, it's, if you don't have it on you, it's what's the point? So I try to make it as easy as I can to have stuff on me available, and I try to use modules for a lot of the things. So I have a tools module in my front pocket that has things like a multi-tool and a pen and a lighter, and then I have a medical module. I call it my mini medi, which has a lot of it's not band-aids, it's more of like the modern wound dressings that you would actually get at a hospital, like Tegaderm and Sterastrips and things like that. So I also have a backup utility knife and a flashlight and things like that. I think what you mentioned about having printouts of like your contacts is super important. One of it was earlier this year, I was probably watching a video, I think a full spectrum survival video. It got me worried. It was like 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have any paper. I don't have my phone contacts printed out. And so I woke up in the middle of the night and just started printing off all my email ones, the ones that are in my phone. So I had all of those in addition to emergency things. I have those now. It's stored in different locations in addition to in like the ice binder that has a paper printout of it. I don't EDC my ice binder though, but I have in my Altoids kit, I have various numbers to call for poison and for different things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think for me, EDC, if you don't have it with you in a public bathroom, like when you're very vulnerable, it's not your EDC, it's something else. So for me,
it's a car
EDC,
kit, right?
Yeah, it's a kit, or it's something else. But for me, EDC means it's on my person at most of the time, even if you're in the restroom, so that's a random place. So,
and I'll tell you what, I'm kind of that 1980s baby, I guess, because I don't mind rocking the fanny pack. So I rock the fanny pack.
Yeah, I have some fanny packs here. So
okay. Now Kelly's, what I just showed you, it is a really cool chest rig, and it's a small chest rig, and it fits everything inside it. Can I see it again? All right, let me see your fanny
Here's
pack.
an American flag fanny pack.
Okay,
How patriotic is that? Yeah,
that's the Hulk Hogan fanny pack.
yeah, that's Hulk Hogan style. Yeah,
Yep. So
Hulkamaniacs.
this is hers, and it has
That's
you
nice.
can wear it a couple of different ways. So she wears hers like this, and it has an easy access for her tool right here that a hand can go right in. You've got a spot that she keeps her flashlight and everything else in. Now she can also take this section that has her her self-defense tool, and it comes right out. So if she needed to just take that somewhere, it also has the small kit inside of it, but it fits in the larger chest rig, which will depending on which way you maneuver the different clips, it also has just as a side pack. It goes on your hip on the side. So it's really a functional way that we carry. Like I said, I rock the EDC, the fanny pack rather than that, because I think that, like I said earlier in the video, everybody who knows you've got a self-protection tool inside of there.
Yeah.
That's what they know that is. Now I live in an open carry state, so you can open carry all you want, but I also have a concealed weapons permit, so I can concealed carry, which is a little bit less. I don't, it's in our current climate, it's a little alarming for some kids, to see just somebody rocking around a firearm.
Yeah.
And I try to be patient with that even though lots of people are in my state, I would much rather have some other things that are in my control. Like I don't have the buckle fanny packs that can just be pulled apart. So those things I can keep in my control and still give me some degree of kind of a gray man, that even though the guys who know what's inside of it, you're not drawing undue attention to yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, open carry is definitely not gray man, in my opinion.
That's right. Yeah,
I like the VanQuest fanny pack. I have a few of those ones, and then I also, for like my computer bag, I've been using more of a smaller sling. It's almost like a fanny pack, but I have a ballistic panel in there as well.
I like that. That's my favorite right there.
Yeah, and then I also have pepper spray nearby, and I have a glass punch that's nearby. So I like having that stuff close to you. But the fanny pack, it doesn't have to be on your waist. I use it as a sling most of the time, which I think is pretty convenient. So
I'm a big proponent of pepper spray.
Yeah, I do pepper gel. Pepper gel is what I prefer.
That's right. Yeah. Let me see. Let me show them the pepper spray that we have. We carry the small unit. I'm a proponent of it because I think that they are highly effective.
Yeah.
And if somebody is in a state that they're not effective against, I have the next step of my own preparedness to handle that, that stage. But I think that everybody, you can get out of jail, prison, and go get pepper spray.
Yep.
You can do all these things so that you can have something that is a force multiplier. It will keep people away from you. Pepper spray will keep more people away from you than the 6 shots in my revolver, because the 12 people that are at a riot don't want to get pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
And you've really got to make those decisions at that time. Who makes that?
This one's a Saber Red, and I like it's the gel because there's a lot of winds up here, and so I'm always worried that if you just spray the pepper spray coming back at you. But this is kind of like Dilophosaurus from Jurassic Park. It gets on your eyes, and that's going to ruin your day.
Yeah, we use the Saber too, and I was joking when I said the small one because we have the massive.
You got the big one.
Yeah. The massive, and we have one in the car, and then one that has the the belt clip, and then we also have the petite. She says petite. You're gonna make Cliff feel bad because he's got a small one. She tells me petite to repeat over here. The dainty one.
Where's my big pepper spray? I need to find it.
He said now he has to find his massive, oversized pepper spray so he doesn't feel petite. Oh my goodness.
It's gotten to that point of the stream.
Yeah, that's right. So I highly,
it's not the size that counts, it's how you use the pepper spray.
Right,
okay.
That's right. Now we have people in the chat who are saying things like bear spray, and I do think that those have uses in preparedness, but I also know we live in a very lawsuit ready time of our lives, and a jury will be easier to sway against you that because you had bear spray, you had a premeditated use for that, even though it's better, even though it lasts longer, even though it is way better. The jury will be able to be swayed that you probably shouldn't have been using that. If you really just wanted to keep people back, why wouldn't you use what the police use? And so that's why you never see me saying buy bear spray or use bear spray, because I want someone to survive the event and not go to prison because they survived the event.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't care. I don't use the bear spray. And I think bear spray is kind of designed for bears. I think this pepper spray is actually, I think, a little better for humans for me personally. But I saw someone talking about wasp spray as well too. But for the bear spray, I'm always concerned about the legal purposes.
And the wasp spray too. I mean, again,
that's another one.
If the whole rule of law goes away and people that you just have to survive, and no jury is going to convict you for just needing to survive when there was no rule of law and you couldn't call the police. But you give someone a paralyzing, neurologically killing wasp spray on purpose, the jury's really going to have a hard day with you, using that. One last thing, I know you got to go here soon, but one last thing, a lot of people were asking about the epinephrine pins and where to get it. And Storm actually asked me on a recent video, and you can get them using Teladoc. Telemedicine is huge, especially given our current social climate. You just call up the teledoctor services. You don't even have to go in there. You tell them why. I'm going hiking in bee country. I'm going to visit an apiary. I have hornets in my yard. I'm lawn mowing where there's yellow jackets, whatever it might be. And they're going to write you a script for epinephrine. So, I think Teladoc is a brand we actually use. Which one do we use? MD Live is the one that we use because I think it's a little bit cheaper. Okay. There's different telemedicine organizations out there, and you just get a hold of an actual doctor who will write you a script and send it off to your local pharmacy. And I think the last time we got them filled, she said, yeah, that's why I said Teladoc. Yeah. The last time we got an epinephrine filled, I think it was $150. I don't know what it's going to be right now, but they really, like the insulin makers, they held the entire market. They monopolized it. Now you can get, or at least you're supposed to be able to get off-brand epinephrine, which should be around $15, $20 for a trigger. So it's definitely something to look into, and something I think that everyone should have, in the event of an emergency.
Yeah, let me put this in the chat room really quick. And boom, there's the recommended link. MD. We're not giving medical advice though.
Of course,
we're just talking. Okay, guys, we're talking about pepper spray things and our own opinion. Okay, there we go. Legal disclaimer.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, yes, this has flown by. We're doing good, and I think there's going to be a lot more where this came from with the new channel that's coming out, which is going to be a blast. I know that I saw this. Will All American Prepper make a guest appearance on the Think Preparedness video? We really hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. We're trying to convince them to, because that's another unique perspective.
Yeah, we definitely need. I think that should probably just be a requirement. Everyone's going to ask for it. So that's again, right. if you haven't clicked already, make sure you click on Think Preparedness, subscribe to the channel. Videos coming out this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we've been talking. Let's see how do I get this off the screen? Okay, there we go. Okay, we've been talking with Full Spectrum Survival about all sorts of things preparedness. We've been taking as many of the live questions as we can. It's been a lot of fun for me to really get. We haven't had the chance to talk like this together, but by ourselves. We've talked with the others, with those other guys. But again, man, make sure you go to Full Spectrum Survival. Also, I really like the Off Grid with Brad and Kelly channel. When's the next video coming out?
We were just talking about that because, as we're putting daily videos out, it really is a time crunch in itself. Yeah. But, doing those things that we're doing, like we're building, do you have the picture of the off-grid cabin? So we're building a 12 by 32 off-grid, completely off-grid cabin. We're deciding right now whether we go a conventional solar way or whether we go really on the cheap. For me, I really like to go on the cheap. And that's really better in my opinion. So we've got, you won't be able to see it very well, but we did tongue and groove that we whitewashed the tongue and groove inside. The white really gets blown out. So you don't really see it. But I love how it's turning out. And so we're going to use a lot of those videos on the Off-Grid channel and really start to show that journey. Because, when we first moved out here a couple of years ago, we went from absolutely nothing, owning nothing of our own, to now we have a couple of acres, we have animals, we have all these different things that, in my opinion, it's completely paid off. And we worked hard until we got it completely paid off, because even though we live in the United States of America, and yes, you're going to have to pay taxes on your property. In my state, once you hit 65, I believe it is, you are grandfathered in and you no longer pay taxes on your property. It's yours for the rest of your life. The government can never take it back because you don't pay taxes. I wish every state did that. Even if they didn't, right now my taxes on 5 acres is $72 a year. If I can't make $72 a year, I have a lot more problems, and the government does, than chasing me for the property. So we are kind of showing that different facet of our life on how we're working a little bit every day. And we hope to bring out some more videos there to the Off-Grid channel, kind of with that information.
Great. Well, cool. I'm looking forward to the next Off-Grid one. I always like those ones a lot, and I also like watching the news ones. Although I watch them earlier in the day, because if I watch them too late, then it gets the mind going, and I can't go to sleep. But
yeah, that's right.
And someone said I never saw Full Spectrum Survival smile so much. That's a win there. I think
that's right.
Saying dirty jokes about pepper spray will do that sometimes.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. My wife really threw me under the bus with the petite talk there.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, a special shout out to not only to Brad from Full Spectrum Survival, but also his lovely wife, who's back off screen right now. Are you going to come on screen, or are you going to just? Are you just?
Well, she said that she's not really dressed in a way.
Okay.
That, yeah, she can thumbs up. From the side.
Okay, she's a real. Okay. Well, cool. Okay, guys. So I have the link for Full Spectrum Survival and the Off-Grid with Kelly. It's in the description box. Again, stay tuned for Think Preparedness. That's coming out this weekend, where we'll be talking with Brad and myself, and with Canadian Prepper, and with City Prepping, about all sorts of things preparedness. So tune in for that. Subscribe to that channel. And thanks for watching. Thanks for the folks that came over from Full Spectrum Survival. Thanks for checking out my channel and giving it a little shot. And if you like this kind of stuff, there's more videos to come. So
yeah, please subscribe.
Yeah, Brad, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to talk with me and with the folks. I think people seem to enjoy it. I think we went through a lot of questions, and there's more of this to come. So
yeah, I'd be glad to come back and talk more. It was a good night that I think, I'll
let's do it.
Having done it.
Guys, if you like these kind of things, make sure you press the thumbs up button, because it helps with those dreaded algorithms. Right. So, and like it and tell your friends about it, and send it to all your friends. They'll love it. So okay, right. there we go.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you to everybody who watched for taking the time out of your night to be here with us.
Great. Yeah, thanks again, everyone. And with that, I think we're out. See you next time.
Bye.